I knew the HOA in my new neighborhood was strict, but I didn't know it would end with the president calling 911 on me while holding the keys she stole right off my own truck, and absolutely no idea that the man she was accusing was the sheriff of the entire county. And if that morning hadn't been recorded on video, she probably would have watched me get dragged off my own driveway in handcuffs. That was the moment everything inside Cedar Ridge Ranch Estates snapped, and the woman who ruled the neighborhood like a suburban dictator started losing her crown. I moved to Cedar Ridge because I wanted quiet. After 27 years in law enforcement, all I wanted was a porch to drink my black coffee on, a little air that didn't smell like engine exhaust or burning adrenaline, and mornings where the only thing calling my name was a blue jay, not dispatch. The place looked perfect on paper: big lots, tall pines, a lake that shimmered like a polished coin. The kind of neighborhood realtors call a peaceful community, which usually means a nice place with at least one person who ruins everything. I didn't notice her at first. Just a woman in her late 40s power walking like she was chasing chickens through a barnyard. Hair sprayed stiff, oversized sunglasses, a clipboard clutched like a badge. I figured she was just another neighbor who liked structure. Oh, but no. Folks were quick to warn me. "That's Mara Kensington, HOA president. You'll know soon enough." I laughed it off. I'd dealt with meth heads, biker gangs, drunk ranchers with more bullets than brain cells. How bad could one HOA president be? For 2 weeks it wasn't bad at all. I stacked firewood, unpacked boxes, fixed the back fence, tried to pretend my retirement might actually be peaceful. And then the letters started. "Your grass exceeds HOA height standards. Your porch light color is inconsistent. Your trash can was visible for more than 12 minutes after pickup." 12 minutes. Who times that? At first I shrugged it off. Annoying, sure, but not life-changing. Until one evening I walked outside for the mail and found Mara standing at the edge of my driveway staring at my property like she was assessing a crime scene. She clicked her pen like a weapon. "You're new here, so I'll be generous. We expect strict compliance in Cedar Ridge. We don't want this place turning into a mess." A mess. My yard could have passed a military inspection. I kept my voice level. "If there's an issue, you can send it in writing. I don't respond to on-the-spot accusations." You'd think I'd slapped her. She stepped closer, lifting her chin to tower over me, even though the woman barely reached my shoulder. "We've had trouble with newcomers who think they're above the rules. I'm here to make sure it doesn't happen again." Well, lucky me. I'd apparently joined a gated community run by a walk-in tyrant. From that moment, the letters doubled, then tripled. Unauthorized structure behind home, even though it was a shed built by the previous owner. Suspicious activity at 5:42 a.m., which was just me opening my garage door. Live animals visible from the street, which were ceramic deer. It was targeted. I knew the pattern. I'd seen it in criminals and bullies and petty people who needed a villain to justify their authority. And apparently, I'd been cast as her villain. But the real turning point came on a sunrise morning when all I wanted to do was fix the wood trim on my workshop. My truck was parked perfectly straight in my driveway. I set my keys on the hood for maybe 5 seconds while securing a power drill in the bed. 5 seconds. I heard rapid footsteps, territory-claiming footsteps. "Clay," she snapped. She insisted on calling me Clay, even though that wasn't my name. "Your truck is parked incorrectly." I looked down the driveway. Perfectly straight, perfectly legal, perfectly mine. How I asked. She didn't answer. She just circled around the front of my truck like a predator choosing a weak spot. And then she snatched my keys off the hood. "Hey," I stepped forward. She jerked her arm up dramatically. "Per HOA enforcement protocol, I am temporarily confiscating these until further inspection." Confiscating. My truck keys. From my truck. On my property. "Mara," I said, steady calm, trying not to laugh at the absurdity. "That's not how property law works. Those are my keys. Hand them back." She backed away as if I'd suddenly become armed and dangerous. "You are being confrontational, and I won't tolerate intimidation tactics." Intimidation? I was standing there holding a coil of extension cord. "Give me my keys," I repeated, firm but not loud. "I will not be threatened in my own neighborhood," she declared, and with the dramatic flair of a woman auditioning for a soap opera, she dialed 911. "Yes, hello, I'm being threatened by a resident. He's becoming aggressive. He attempted to seize HOA property. HOA property. My keys. My patience snapped in half. But here's the thing. Years on the force had taught me a trick when someone starts acting irrational: hit record. I'd tapped my phone camera the moment she grabbed the keys. Within minutes I heard sirens. Neighbors were peeking through blinds like prairie dogs checking for predators. And Mara. She puffed up like a queen about to be escorted by royal guards. She thought the cavalry was coming for me. 2 deputies stepped out of their cruisermen I recognized instantly. Morgan and Diaz. Good officers, solid reps. And the moment Mara saw them, she broke into a frantic performance worthy of an Oscar. Officers. Thank God he threatened me. He tried to take HOA property. He refused compliance. Morgan looked at me, leaning against my truck, calm as a Sunday sermon. Then he asked quietly, "Sir, is there a reason she has your keys?" "None that's legal," I said. "She took them off my truck. I have it on video." His eyebrows rose. "Do you mind if I ask for ID?" "Sure," I said, pulling out my wallet and handing it to him. He opened it, expecting a driver's license. He saw the sheriff's badge. Everything changed. His posture straightened. His voice shifted. You could practically hear the gears in his head grinding. "Sheriff Mortensen," he said under his breath. "Sir, I didn't know you lived out here. Just moved in. Haven't announced it." Diaz looked at Mara like she'd just called 911 on the mayor. "You called 911 on the sheriff," Morgan said bluntly. Her face collapsed. The sheriff? Him? No, that can't be." He didn't say. "And you didn't ask," I said. They watched the video. Their jaws tightened. Their eyes hardened. False report. Theft. Harassment. Sheriff Morgan asked quietly, "How would you like to proceed?" And right there I should have felt triumphant. I should have felt vindicated. But instead, for a moment, I felt tired, disappointed. I moved here to escape chaos, not create it. And now the entire neighborhood was staring, waiting to see whether I'd throw the book at a woman who'd clearly lost control of her life. I actually wondered for one stupid second whether I was the problem, whether maybe I should have just ignored her or complied or pretended I didn't care. But then I thought about everyone else in this neighborhood, the ones who didn't have badges or decades of conflict training or a video to save their reputation. People she had steamrolled for years because they were too polite or too scared to push back. That's when the switch flipped back on. First I said I want my keys. Morgan retrieved them. I pocketed them. Second, I want this documented as a formal warning, and dispatch needs to know her report wasn't accurate. Diaz nodded firmly. Understood. Mara swallowed hard. I didn't mean to lie. I thought he was being hostile. No, I said calmly. You thought you could intimidate me. And when that didn't work, you escalated. The deputies left. Neighbors drifted away in stunned silence. Mara stood frozen in my driveway, clutching her clipboard like it could shield her from reality. She finally whispered, "Are you going to come after the HOA now?" "No," I said, "but I am going to fix it." That shook her more than the deputies ever could. By midday, the whole neighborhood knew. People brought handwritten notes, desserts, quiet thank yous. Some left messages telling me stories about their own run-ins with Mara, ridiculous fines, late-night confrontations, threats of penalties for imaginary violations. Years of resentment bubbling up now that someone had finally stood up to her. And that evening around 8, there was a shaky knock at my door. Mara, hair messy, eyes tired, clipboard nowhere in sight. "May I come in?" she asked. She stood awkwardly in my living room, twisting her hands. "I haven't slept. I've handled HOA disputes for 8 years, and today I felt completely out of control." I shrugged. "Maybe because you tried to control too much." She sat down slowly. "Do you hate me?" "No," I said. "But I hate what you've become." Her eyes glistened. "I thought enforcing rules made me important. I thought it kept this neighborhood safe." "You called 911 on a man loading tools into his truck," I said. "That's not safety. That's fear." She nodded, defeated. And for the first time I saw the truth beneath the armor of authority. She was lonely, insecure, desperate for validation. Not evil, just twisted by power. But regret didn't erase consequences. The next night at the HOA meeting, the clubhouse overflowed. People pressed against the walls, spilling into the hall, whispering like a courtroom waiting for a verdict. Howard, the meek board chair, called on me first. I told the story exactly as it happened. No embellishment, no theatrics, just facts. People gasped, shook their heads, whispered angrily. Then Howard asked Mara if she wanted to respond. She stood slowly, hands trembling. "I was wrong," she said. "I abused my position. I acted out of fear, not leadership. And I hurt someone who didn't deserve it." The room froze. Even I was surprised. But an apology wasn't enough. The board voted. 5 slips of paper. Remove, remove, retain, remove, remove. And just like that, the reign of Mara Kensington ended. Not with handcuffs, not with headlines. With accountability. She didn't argue. She didn't storm out. She simply whispered, "I understand," and sat back down as the room buzzed with relief. I stepped forward one last time. "Removing one person won't fix the system," I said. "We need reform, checks and balances, clear limits, respect." And the room, this neighborhood that had been silent for years, finally spoke up. Ideas poured out, frustrations surfaced, solutions formed. People who'd never said a word suddenly found their voice. When the meeting ended, only Mara remained. She approached me quietly. "Thank you," she said. "Not for what you said, for not humiliating me." I nodded. Leadership isn't about authority. It's about responsibility. You can still be part of this community if you choose to listen instead of rule. The next morning, Cedar Ridge felt different. Lighter. People waved, smiled, made eye contact again. I took a walk just to feel the shift. And there on her porch sat Mara, not watching the neighborhood like a hawk, not clutching a clipboard. Just sitting, thinking. She looked up when I approached. "I'm going to join the reform committee," she said. I raised an eyebrow. "Really?" "I want to contribute without controlling," she said. "It's time I learned the difference." I nodded. Maybe she meant it. Maybe she didn't. Time would tell. But her fall had already sent a message through every cul-de-sac in Cedar Ridge authority: without accountability always collapses. And that was enough for me. I came here looking for peace. I didn't expect to fight for it, but peace earned is peace that lasts. And if this story teaches anything, it's this: power means nothing when respect is gone. Only integrity keeps a community standing.